Anybody watching on the replay, or actually not watching it, well, if you're on, first of all, if you're watching on the replay, please consider liking and subscribing, or at least subscribing so you can decide to like my content later. For anybody who is just watching me live, I did cancel a stream and restart it because I ran into some issues, and most notably, I had the audio on mute for like a long time, like a big chunk of the stream, so wasted a lot of breath basically. But anyway, we're back on, and I did talk about some video encoding related stuff, but you know what, that doesn't need to be talked about right now. It would be nice to, basically a friend of mine was streaming a game today. Ryan Roger Athley was streaming a video game, and he was getting a lot of chop, you know, skipping video, long buffering, and a massive delay between the chat and the game. And so in a nutshell, my recommendation was, there was two options. One was to use the OBS virtual camera, but it occurred to me that's not a good option for him right now, because, you know, you can't really do that unless you either if you're playing from a game console, you need a microphone where you can hook the audio input into your microphone. That's a shortcut, because the alternative to doing something crazy like that would be setting up the virtual audio cable. And so that's how I do it. By using virtual audio cable, I could take any audio that's going into OBS and send it to StreamYard as a single audio source, because StreamYard can only listen to your microphone or your line input. It can't listen to multiple audio devices at once unless you have it wired physically. So I use a virtual audio cable, and what it does is it basically, anything that has the word monitor and output selected next to it will get pushed over to my virtual audio input, so to speak, or audio source. Since that seemed like a big can of worms, not that big of a can of worms, but it's a can of worms in that it's an abstract thing to set up. And, you know, sometimes setting up abstract concepts, it's just like, you know, it takes time to understand it, and it's cool, but if you're saying, hey, I got a remedy to a problem that you can use immediately, throwing an abstract concept at somebody is not a, you know, reasonable solution in my opinion. And so that's why we're going to go for option B. And in fact, I've already made the video and exported it, and I can upload that video right now, and I will. And I didn't even have to edit the video. I tend to like open it in DaVinci, clean up the audio track, and then I export it from DaVinci. And so I have a file right here that I can immediately upload. And basically what I did in that file, well, let's just click upload real quick so that I don't have to do anything. Upload video, you know, we just do that, right? You know, usual routine. And there we go, good. I can do something else now. So basically all I did was I went to settings, output, and I went over the two modes. Mine's set to advanced. Most people might have it set to simple mode, but bottom line is I went over and talked about the NVIDIA encoder and how hardware-based video encoding works, and that video is going to be uploaded tonight. You know, I got to do a little tweaking, type in a description, maybe create a thumbnail image, but that video will be uploaded tonight. Unless I make it, sometimes I do videos where I'll release it as an exclusive release, and then, you know, I'll just send it to the one person that I did it for, and then eventually, like months later, I'll remember that I have to like tweak, you know, I have to like basically finish the work on that video. But anyway, that happens once in a while. But anyway, so what do we have here? So on my desk, that's not my desk. On my desk, I have my Galaxy Note 20 Ultra smartphone. And it's a pretty good phone, but some weeks ago, I cracked the screen and I sent it out for like $290. And I think it was money well spent, considering it's a $500 phone that I already got a good deal on. So at this point, I'm spending about fair market value on the phone in total. But excuses and jokes aside, I had tempered glass on it, like on my Note 8. And the Note 8 was a great phone. I would drop it all the time in the OtterBox case, and it was a lightweight OtterBox commuter case, but I dropped it a few times, and I always had a glass screen protector on it, and if the glass screen protector didn't break, great. If it did break, that was okay, because the point of a screen protector is that it absorbs the energy of impact so that your screen doesn't. That's how it keeps your screen safe. So if you either keep spare screen protectors on hand all the time, anytime you crack your screen, you could just change the screen protector and have continued protection. like 100%. Now maybe you get a little hairline crack. You might keep the screen protector on until you get another piece of damage on it. But generally, you're only getting 100% protection when the entire screen protector is intact. If you have like a large spot shatter, like an actual crushed glass that is on the screen protector, your screen protector protected your phone, but next time that same spot gets hit, it's not going to have the same protection. You know, glass can be extremely hard, but once it gives catastrophically, right? So that's basically what we're talking about. And hey, Lady Mist, how you doing? I got to just enable the chat because I didn't do that yet. I was supposed to do that, but allow me to do that now. And it should be really simple because, wow, is it already working? Wait, which chat are we on? I hope I have the right chat on. I'm going to do a test. Are you watching this video or that video? Uh-oh. Okay, so wrong video. I just got an error message when I tried chatting. So I don't know if anybody's watching me on here. I hope somebody watches me here. No, I'm kidding. But jokes aside, I hope some people can see me. I mean, like, I hope like I'm not being suppressed because I just did 2 streams back to back. Maybe I should rename this stream so that people can see it better. I'm literally doing that right now. I'm renaming the stream just to see if that helps with visibility because I don't want to be alone. No, I'm kidding, but there we go. I just changed the settings for the stream. I don't know if anybody's gonna see it. I might even put like, I don't know. I mean, it's up again, so I hope somebody sees this. Might even do a community post right now. I don't know. Because that's one issue when you end a stream abruptly and you want people to see it, right? You want, you know, but you're worried that they're not going to see it, right? So that's where I'm at right now. It's like, are they going to see it? Do I have to click on something else? Do I have to do some finagling here to make it pop up? I guess we'll just keep getting on with the show, but, you know, it's one thing I think that by giving the stream the same name that it had a moment ago, it might cause people not to show up for the stream. So that would be depressing. Oh, and real quick, I actually got to, before I do my screen protector install, because I do want to do the, you know, there we go. I want to check my telescope, see if weather is good. It looks like we might get some Halloween footage of the moon more than anything right now. So here we go. We're going to open up Stellarium. We're going to unpark the telescope. We're going to open up the camera app that works. And we're going to wait. And I think this time we might... God, that coconut water tastes funny. Hey, what up, JLM? I'm glad that you're, I can see you in the chat because the graph didn't... I hope Lady Mist was just here. For she was here for the other stream, and I killed the stream in the middle of a sentence, and I said I'm starting another stream. Did I say I was starting another stream? Well, anyway, so here's the other stream. Because I had like a low quality start on that stream, and I was like, I want to, you know, start better. So that's where we are at now. And we should have the chat on the top of the screen. And everything should be hunky-dory. And stream protectors. I'll try again after some coffee. You know, I'd say keep them coming. Oh, come on, camera. Why? Oh, I don't want to have to go outside. That's so stupid. It literally doesn't see... I think I have to like whatever the USB hub. I'm not very interested in doing that right now. So we're going to try to trick the thing into detecting the camera. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. Alright, we're going to try something here. And if it doesn't work, we'll just have to go and do the screen protector. Because the moon is being blocked by the clouds right now anyway. It's when the moon is being half blocked by clouds that's when it's cool, you know? But we have to disconnect everything. or at least everything that we can disconnect, and then we're going to try to tell the power box to toggle the power. And actually, I think last I checked, the dew heaters, which are basically what, oh my god, the entire freaking USB bus is like F-RON. Alright, so, here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's being a camera. I mean, a camera. It's being a Karen. I'm just going to put a message in the chat. BRB. Just jiggling, just kicking the cables outside. There we go. Alright, so now we both know that... Do I want to do that? I don't want to do that yet. I don't want to get up and leave the stream, you know? I think we're just... Yeah, I better do it. Okay, I'm going to do it right now. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm going to leave my Gundam Core Fighter here. Oh wait, I need my phone. There we go. We got the Gundam looking up. I don't really want to do this. I was just getting all settled in. It's hot outside. But whatever, I'll do it. I'll do it. Right, let me just exit this. We don't need to control my phone. I was controlling my phone up to the point I'm back. Hey, look at that. We got David Glenn. How you doing, JLM again? Thanks for sticking around. Did anyone else drop in? At least we know the stream is getting out there. At least we see people are catching it. Yeah, like, it's because I'm using the monochrome camera, David, with the, monochrome black and white camera with the filters. That is why I can get away with that. And, of course, something like the moon, I mean, well, it's not anything, that requires too much. Whoops, gotta unpark this scope. So, yeah, I mean, there's, like, patches of sky that are clear. And there's patches of sky that are not. But I just wanted to have that ready. So this is weird. I think an animal yanked my USB repeater. I was able to reconnect it, but my USB extension cable / repeater was physically unplugged. So I was like tracing it. I was doing things. And the problem was actually inside the tripod where my USB repeater cable is. And I wish I got to get a new camera for the backyard, because I really want to know what animal is doing this. Like, is it one of the cats? Is it the freaking gopher? I like the gopher or the groundhog, but maybe it is the groundhog. And I'll kill, if it's the groundhog, I'll fill his hobbit hole with cement. No, okay, I wouldn't do that. Well, I might. It depends if the gopher was an asshole. I've only played one Star Wars game. I think it came out in '97. Was it this? There was a lot of other games that came out around that time. But let's see here. Man, there's a lot of chat to catch up with. Well, anyway. Yeah, basically I use filters, and if we look at the software I'm using, you'll see down here we have an option. It says filter, on camera filter wheel. I got luminance, which is basically a transparent filter, red, green, and blue. So if you use a red filter in black and white, you can pretty much replace the color white with shades of red. So imagine instead of a black and white, it's red and black. Instead of, or blue and black, or, so black and blue, black and red, and black and green. And if you take three separate pictures of the same thing using those color filters and combine the three different tones, the green, red, and blue data together, you get a full color image. So that's basically what's happening there. And that's how the Hubble Space Telescope, that's how James Webb to some extent does it. And how, like, that, if you ever sort of discover satellite, Deep Space Climate Observatory or some crap like that. Let's see here. Discover. They call it the Earth Polychromatic Imaging Camera, EPIC. And basically, like, if you ever get into like an argument with a friggin' hardcore flat earther, they'll see this picture and be like, they'll bitch about it. They'll say that a real picture of the Earth was never taken, but this satellite is literally like further out than the moon, so that it could take this picture. But of course, the best one is when EPIC had the moon flying in front of it, because now this is the one where like the flat earthers are like, oh, that picture's obviously fake. Or not just flat earthers, moon hoaxers, people who don't believe that the moon landings were real, And I'm not saying that I can prove or disprove that, but like a video, I don't know why this one's distorted, but basically it gives you an idea. So yeah, this is like a bad version of it. This actually does look fake. I mean, I know it's not, but I don't like that version. It was like, they didn't even try. Science on a sphere. There must be some reason this website does what it does the way it does it, but let's find, I want to find the video version or the animated GIF version of that. I guess I could just find it on YouTube, but I was hoping to get like a really good quality version of it, not like, this looks like hell. All right, good, there we go. So here we go. So this right here, like, has the moon in it, right? And my coworker was like, that's obviously fake. And every flat earther bitches about this one, like, or every person who wants to say space is fake. But the Earth looks amazing in this. And the reason is because of the camera. So, EPIC camera discover. And the Earth Polychromatic Imager camera has a filter wheel on it. In fact, here's a picture of the Epic right there. It's basically a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope. If you look up Celestron, Schmidt-Cassegrain, or C8, it's the same basic design. And if we look up filter wheel, this is the filter wheel that Discover uses, basically. And it's just like what I'm using on my telescope, basically, you know? And it's got a black and white camera. Hubble has something just like this, too. And it's got a carousel. It switches. In fact, they got 2 filter wheels. So the idea is that there's an open slot on this filter wheel. So essentially they could, like, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they got 10 different filters. And you can have, like, red, blue, and green. Then you got oxygen. And you got hydrogen, and you got something probably for carbon dioxide, I bet. I mean, I don't know the raw data, but they do this because they don't only want to get a clear picture of the Earth, they want to be able to, like, identify elements and say, oh, we see a lot of a certain element in here, let's measure it, you know. And that's some of what they're doing, basically, just give you, like, an idea. And this gives you a more, you know, like, detail about the filters, but they don't really say what they are here. It just shows us the nanometers, or what they're sensitive to. But this graph is like the EM spectrum. Imagine a prism with the rainbow, and this is red, blue, and green. Or I think it's actually like opposite order, like green, blue, and red. But, or green, blue, green, and red. But anyway, by tuning into this part, we're basically blocking out all of the light pollution here and here. And so my filter wheel, the spikes are different. It's like we got one here, and a spike here. And when I tune into each filter, the idea is that, like, when I'm capturing the color red, I'm blocking out, like, green that comes from certain types of light. I'm blocking out, when I'm using green, I'm blocking out the orange light from the high-pressure sodium lamps. And so this helps me to, like, you know, when I'm doing post-processing, really to dial it in. Hey, what's up there, the Padawannabe? My downstairs neighbor is a flat earther. And, you know, like I try to be tolerant and stuff, you know, but what else can you do? Sometimes it's just easier not to argue with the person about it because, you know you're not going to get far trying to change their mind on it, you know? And damn, I'm itchy from just going in the backyard, man. I don't know. I got to, yeah, go on I got to get some Agent Orange for the backyard. But, yeah, so that's like, so then what I didn't mention was I said we have red, blue, and green filters. These see real colors, but these are hydrogen alpha, S2, and O3. So hydrogen alpha, if this is red, like, you know, red, blue, and green, red, you know, red, blue, and green, and red is on the EM spectrum here. Oh, there we go. Red is over here, let's say. Hydrogen alpha is a sliver of red. It's like that. And so just by switching to hydrogen alpha, we're blocking out every other shade of red except for the one that comes from ionized hydrogen gas. And that's why I can do long exposure photography without picking up a shit ton of light pollution when using the hydrogen filter. But also, you can't see jack with the naked eye. You have to, you know, like essentially use a camera to assist. You got to do a longer exposure, or you got to, you know, it depends. Like, they got different versions. They got less aggressive hydrogen filters to let more in. Why am I not seeing anything right now? Hey, Google, volume 5. Hey, Google, repeat that. Yeah, I gotta take care of something real quick. I gotta get... Am I bleeding? Did I get bitten by... What the fuck is this? Okay. Yeah, I gotta wash my arm to get the poison ivy or whatever it is off before it takes hold. The Earth is predominantly made of uncarbonated water. So yes, the world is flat. Oh my god, it's funny. The world is flat. Yeah, mainly the ocean. Can a cheap Celestron with a permanently fogged up mirror be repaired? Hell yeah, I think so. Maybe. It depends. It depends if it's because the coating is corroded. There is a theoretical way to re-silver the mirror or whatever they call it, but like you need a vacuum chamber or somebody who has a vacuum chamber and who knows what they're doing. But you don't want to, like, you know, like repolish. It depends. Like, there are answers on like the forums, but it's a mixed question. I've taken apart the telescope before. If it's just a matter of wiping down the mirror and the surface coating is fine, that would be the ideal scenario. If that surface coating took on corrosion, it might not be worth it, but like if you're adventurous, you could probably like clean the coating off and try silvering the mirror, recoating the mirror basically. And they use like I think vacuum deposition. They have a vacuum chamber, they have like some aluminum in there, and they electrify it, and it somehow like it like zaps onto the mirror, and like that mirror is shaped like a bowl. So what they're doing is like first they polish it to be like, in fact, Celestron has a process that mass produces mirrors by making them into like spherical shapes. So that's why the front mirror is usually there's a front lens called a corrector plate, but it depends if it's one of the short ones. If it's a power seeker, like does this telescope, David, have like a lens on the front? Or is it like open? Like, can you shove your hand inside can you put your hand to the front and touch the mirror? I'm not saying don't do that, but can physically, hypothetically, if you had like a long stick, is there a piece of, it is open. Okay, so that's, yeah, because that's probably why. They see the Schmidt Cassegrains are cool because they have a closed up front. What I would probably do is maybe gently with gloves or a napkin, touch the like edge of the mirror just to see like what is on it, like maybe get like dampen it a little bit and see like, is it crusted on, is it just fog, is it rough to the touch, is it a rough texture like aluminum, because it's aluminized, it's an aluminized coating. They don't use silver, even though I feel like silver would be way cooler to have a silver plated mirror, but they do use aluminum, which is pretty much the same thing. It's very reflective as well. So they grind it, they create the curvature, they polish it, and then they do the vacuum deposition to get that mirror into the state that it needs to be. And if you're wondering why we don't see jack shit on my telescope right now, it's because I probably have to reset the stupid camera. But luckily we fixed the USB hub. And by fixed, I mean reconnected the hub that the freaking cat, dog, or other animal freaking messed with. I have a trick. What I sometimes do is like I try to trick the camera into working by forcing it into different modes. But basically, I try to do everything I can to avoid going outside. So that's like what I'm doing right here. Like I'm trying to do everything I can to avoid going outside. Oh good, I think it worked. I think it worked this time. Aluminum corrodes much faster, however. Interesting. Well, that's probably why they use it. Now, I mean, it's probably, must be cheaper. Alright, I think we got, it's in a better place now. Oh, and it's yelling at me. Okay, good. I'll be right back. I gotta check on something regarding dinner, alright? So sadly, I might not get time to play Podracer before dinner, but let's see. I really want to get this glass screen protector on while on stream. I feel like that would be just fun to do, but I should probably reevaluate my priorities and just play Podracer until, you know. A healthcare worker used their dose on an animal to control captive raccoons, and well, this is what happened. It's a mutant raccoon. Spoiling for a boss fight. Yeah, I think so. right? So we are seeing what we're seeing right now because we have it cranked up to a long exposure. Only thing I hate is like there comes a point where it's really hard to get like a high frame rate on this particular kit. So a couple of tricks we could do is I think we could like try using binning mode, which will lower the resolution a lot, but we can also use a shorter exposure that way. And then we can crank down the resolution a bit, and that might also help to reduce the amount of data going through that pipe. And then let's see, 2700, so I can make it lower. Sometimes we want to have a bit of a margin, but let's try that resolution and see what happens. Huzzah! Oh, Rocket the raccoon. I get it. I think, yeah, right? The Guardian of the Galaxy raccoon is named Rocket. See, I know pop culture. Kind of. See, I actually have a lower resolution camera hooked up to the piggyback, the guide scope, as we call it. But it's, whatchamacallit. I don't know, that scope, I was never happy with the quality on that scope. It makes a good guide scope, but see, now the only issue with this resolution is that we got like a very tight margin. So probably gonna just bump it up a little bit, but 1600 wide by 1500, yeah, actually should give us a pretty good margin. Padawannabe wins the impromptu comedy contest in the chat. Wow, you guys had a bumping chat going before I came back. Holy cow. It's good. Well, I appreciate that. Guys, that means my engagement metrics look better, I guess. Or something. But yeah, you know, it's very interesting. So every time I end one of these streams, I get about at least about 5 watch hours. So like my Monday show, I'm getting like 5 watch hours. And one thing I forgot to do, I was supposed to work on an intro for the stream today. I might still do it, but maybe I'll do it on my own time. But I really want to make an intro. So I'm just kind of incrementing. Oh, yeah, there's always a little delay when you click on it too fast. Should be about right. Yeah, I actually have some old footage on my channel that looked really cool, that where I'm doing the same thing. And then what we could do is we could actually control the USB bandwidth a little bit. So I just told it to speed up the USB up, and damn, the frame rate is still insane. And maybe we could try changing the mode to like AVI or something like that. In fact, that is a trick, but the problem is that, so I can go straight to AVI, but in 8-bit color mode, you lose a lot of like detail or shading. But we're gonna try it. We're gonna try 8-bit color AVI video format, and we're gonna try cranking down the exposure time like that. And I'm still getting like a shit frame rate. And then we can do this. So I'm using 2x2 binning, which is taking my 11 megapixels and turning it to, like, as I understand it, it's taking that 11 megapixels and making it into 5 megapixels. And I'm getting 3 frames a second. So I think we're going to just go and switch back to normal settings. But what we are going to do is take a look at the secondary camera. Now, here's the downside of the secondary camera. I cannot control the focus. It only has one filter on it. I could put a color camera into the secondary camera, but I still have to control the focus manually. And basically, when you get into the dead of winter, the atmosphere is super clear, but it's freaking cold out. And you know, you can't just sit there on a lawn chair smoking a cigar when it's 20 degrees outside. And on the other hand, in the summertime, you get eaten alive by mosquitoes. And it looks like, well, the moon is getting blocked again. And I'm not even sure if this, okay, let's see, guys. See the moon. Luckily, the moon is on my window. Cold, heartless orb that ruins the night. It does create a lot of light pollution sometimes. See, look at the frame rate. Now we actually have a pretty nice frame rate here. So I could take a camera like this and shove it into the back of my telescope for like video. But, you know, usually I don't want to, you know, shake the boat you know, like that, you know, like it's like the camera's there, it's calibrated, it's adjusted, it's orientated. But we could go and do this. We could try. I think it's in focus well enough because, I mean, this will never do as well as my old Celestron when it comes to this, at least not the way I'm doing it now. So this is where the filters would come in handy, switching between like different ones. And we're getting like 26 frames, so that's like a more respectable frame rate. Oh, bird flew by. Oh god, I crashed it because I was like too fast for the program, so like I crashed it. That sucks. That sucks. I had it tuned. I'm like, oh, we're getting there. It's doing what we wanted to do. Look at that. It's starting to come along. The settings are just about right. I'm about to hit the record button and it's like, F you, I'm crashing. Alright, let's give that another shot. Moody blues song here, cold, heartless orb that ruins the night. Breathe deep, the gathering gloom. David Glenn knows. That's the part they never play on the radio. That's not part of the song. I was trying to talk in like a cool, like, you know, jazzy tone, like, hey, I'm a jazz singer who smoked a lot of cigarettes and heroin. Anyway, radio sucks, TV sucks, movies suck. Yep. All right, let's try that one more time. Well, we're back at 8-bit color again. We need 16-bit color. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. Okay, I'm not half-assing this. I mean, we already are half-assing it, but we're not half-assing it any more than we already are. Hello? Earth to Moon? Earth to Moon, do you read? This is Miguel Barrett here doing the computer voice from Star Trek. Okay, that's not how she sounds. But she does have a good computer voice, you know? Alright, we're gonna do this, whatever it is. So we got Moon Vid, and we gotta get the exposure a little bit better, right? So we're gonna crank it down, we're gonna start recording right here. We're gonna do, I don't know, 2,000 frames. She also does multiple voices on, what do you call it? The animated series. So when you watch the animated series, you'll hear like Michelle, or some episodes, like there was an episode they went to like a Amazon planet or some shit like that. And you hear Miguel Barrett's voice like multiple times, and luckily the only saving grace is that she's not always in the same scene as the aliens, so it's like at least you don't get that confused if they were both talking, but it's like she's not like one of those cartoon voice actors who can do like 50 different voices, you know, sounds like, you know, like Seth MacFarlane basically sounds like himself when he's doing the dog on Family Guy, but he's got some range. And I remember when I was a kid, first time I saw a cartoon voice actor. Now it's over. See, this is like the trick when you're trying to do these cute little videos like I'm doing now. You'll either like crank down the exposure way too much, or you'll do the opposite. And so now it's gonna get too dark, and or if I, you know, it's like really like teetering on a knife's edge trying to get this right, you know. And there's that sweet spot where you get consistent fog and clouds. It looks super cool. But then there's these other situations where like it like gets too bright, and hopefully I balance it out just right. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this screen of my desktop and I'm gonna try to share it as a background. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, like, what the hell is that gonna do for me? Like, how annoying is that? Like, it's still recording right now. Like, I want to get, like, the mix. You know, I want to get some clouds. Like, I want that. That's what I want. And then every time I want to start a new video, I have to click stop capturing and start capturing again. And then watch. It's going to get obscenely dark. I don't know what. Let's see. I'm going to stop complaining and let it be. So, let's take that video frame that we're looking at now and copy it to my desk cam so we can all enjoy the moderately good view as I capture it. And we'll talk about my screen protector here, whether or not I should try to install it right now, and whether or not I should manually adjust my desk camera, because damn, this thing is bright. All right, so now we can get to the new topic. New topic here while we let that moon video record. This is my Galaxy Note 20. I just got it back from repair. It's a pretty good camera, pretty good phone, but it cracked, and I think it happened when the screen protector wasn't on, but I'm not really sure. When I bought it, it came with a screen protector that was actually held on by a UV bonding process. Like, that you put a gel on the screen, you put the screen protector on, they put a UV light on it, the adhesive hardens. So now when you crack that screen protector, to remove it, you have to like peel it off, but the adhesive could be so strong that it leaves a residue behind that's like hard as plastic. But once you heat it up, it like melts right off. Like you could peel it off basically, like almost like sticker gunk or whatever. But there was a window of time where the screen protector was simply not installed. And I think that's when I cracked the screen. I'm not really sure. So I bought a TPU screen protector, which I think I have in the box here somewhere, but it's not bad. It's just a thin layer of film. You can even see it like on the edge a little bit. Like that right there is like, it's TPU. It's that flexible material that they make the cases out of. And it's on there pretty good. And I hear it even offers some impact protection. Like when I do this, it feels like there's a soft contact there, as opposed to like a, you know, loud click. All right, bad example, but you get my drift. And it certainly protects it from scratches, and when you're writing with the S Pen, it doesn't like, it's not annoying. It's like you can actually see like the end of the pen and this more or less line up. When you have a piece of glass, you end up having like some distance. So when you hold it like this, where the dot is versus where the tip of the pen is, becomes more and more distant. And it just gets weird when you have a glass screen protector. But I'm willing to tolerate that if my screen can drop and tolerate impact. And I dropped my Note 8 numerous times in the shower, no problem. But during a more recent crack, it cracked over here, I think. Or here, I'm not really sure. I removed the screen protector to put a different one on, but then the other screen protector got water trapped under it because it did not use the UV glue. I decided not to buy the UV bonded screen protector because it was so hard to remove and wasn't impossible. Like, I know how to do it properly now. But I was just worried about other factors, like if the glass is rigidly bonded to the screen and the glass cracks like this, would it crack the screen? And I wasn't really sure. The answer to that question is why not? But no, jokes aside, I have valid reasons. I like audiobooks, and you can multitask. You can listen to an audiobook and take a shower. I mean, it's super cool in this modern age. Like, I always wanted a mini TV when I was a kid. But imagine having a mini TV that you could take into the shower. It's like, can't go wrong with that, right? But no, also because I mod for Snowdub, right? And he's a cool dude. I mean, I know he wouldn't, like, you know, hold it against me if I said, hey, I got work Sunday morning, man. I can't mod as effectively. But, you know, and I enjoy the show. I enjoy the show. So I can fulfill my duties as a mod while enjoying the show. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. So if someone started saying like the N word in the chat, because that's what part of a moderator is, to like, unfortunately censor it. And even though like most of us like cool people have a laissez-faire approach to censoring, if someone started saying the N word and stuff like that, we probably would like, you know, have to censor them, just because it would be, one, they're assholes, and two, it would be bad for the channel. Like, you know, it would have an adverse impact on our friend's YouTube channel, right? But more importantly, if let's say nobody else is sharing links and they have a guest on and they want to share the link to that guest, then I can do that real quick. And I try to keep like notepad files or sticky notes on hand so I can just copy and paste the links that I know I'm going to be sharing. Or I'll go to the clipboard and copy the link that I already put up there. But that's why I use my phone in the shower. And we got the cool dude here. We got Lorenzo Sleestack of the Sleestackians. And I just love the lizard art. I think it came from a cartoon or a movie. But the Sleestackians, like, I always assumed it was just an original concept by Lorenzo and his crew. And I love that picture. You got the 3 lizard guys standing there. They look like gangsters, you know. It's kind of cool. So I do really like that a lot. And you can see the moon is shifting, or you can't see it, but the moon is shifting around because it's not going to stay in the center of the frame because the Earth is flat. No, I'm kidding. That's not why. It's actually because the Earth is round, it doesn't stay in the center of the frame. And if my telescope mount was perfectly polar aligned, I could probably, you know, keep it more in the center for longer. Oh, wait a second. There's another caveat. It's on sidereal tracking instead of lunar tracking. So what that means is that it's countering the Earth's rotation, but the moon orbits at a slightly different speed than the Earth's rotation. So there's actually a different tracking speed for the telescope mount in order to keep it, you know, suspended. So real quick, we're going to make some adjustments. So we're going to crank up my... Uh-oh. That's weird. Oh, I know why that's happening. That's funny. I got to wait. So, the camera we're using right now is sucking the life out of the USB. And so, it's like saying that, oh, the network connection is slow. And it's really because my USB gigabit adapter is hooked up to USB. And I don't want to hook it up to USB, but the onboard Ethernet adapter stopped working one day from being exposed to moisture, probably. And until I can get around to trying to fix that, I just use a USB adapter. But it means that now, in fact, that might be why I can't get a high frame rate on that other camera. It probably would be a good idea if I did a laptop overhaul sooner than later. I even thought about a backup plan, taking my old desktop and making it into a backyard computer because it's a pretty good desktop for remote access and stuff. And it make a pretty diesel astronomy computer. On one angle, I like that I'm saving a lot of electricity using a laptop in the backyard. But a desktop would be so good because, like, you have, like, what do you call it? Like, internal slots. You have PCIe slots, you know? And, like, that would just be more bandwidth for the devices that we're dealing with, including the high frame rate camera. So, yeah, this screen protector is the UV type. So, if you look at the box here, you can see here that it's got like, you know, this UV light. So you put the gel on and it comes with a UV light. And that's essentially what we're going to be working with right now, basically, right? Why not just get a speaker? I do have a speaker for the bathroom, but I like having the ability to see the screen. I can't type or monitor the chat or interact with the chat. And I decided, yeah, so what I would usually do, the reason I drop the phone in the shower is because, you know how like you can hang the shampoo rack from like, there's like a little thing that you can hang from the shower head where you put your shampoo and soap. So I was putting my phone up there and that's why it would fall. I'm not taking that risk today unless I can be absolutely certain that I'm putting it up there correctly. So I'm going to order 2 things. I'm going to order a mirror that hangs from that rack because that rack is pretty solid. So I know if I hang a mirror from it, like through the whole type, you know, installation, it can't fall off. Then I'm going to get one of those suction cup mounts. I'm going to put my phone on that, but I'm going to make triple sure that the suction cup mount is secure. If I have any doubt, I'm gluing it. I'm gluing the freaking thing, you know? And then after that, you know, hopefully I'll be good. Okay, so this is a USB powered thing. So they provide me with a cable, and although I could use my USB power bank, I actually do have a powered USB hub right here that I can tap. So that's good. In fact, I have one USB port. This USB hub has a port that exclusively puts out like 2 amps or whatever it is. So that's like a nice to have feature right there. And I think this is one of those devices that, yeah, it doesn't turn on until you press the button. I would not stare at this light. It looks very intense. It's got 2 modes. It's got 15 seconds and 60 seconds. And I don't know how you dictate which mode to go into. Oh, I see, it just blinks. I think it just blinks when it goes for 15 seconds. Oh, look, the moon is all bright again. Oh, I see. Maybe you double tap the button to keep it on longer. Land of the Lost. Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition. Sleestacks were originally featured on the 1974 Land of the Lost TV show. The loved Land of the Lost. Oh, I loved Land of the Lost as a kid, David Glenn says. Yeah, I never became a fan of laptop computers. I avoid taking my phone into the bathroom. I do, however, have a half-busted phablet that stays on the toilet tank. That's cool, on the toilet tank lid, yeah. So that's a cool option. That's one way to do it, you know. And funny thing, like my old Note 3 is a good backup phone for things like that, but it's not waterproof. My Note 8 used to be my backup phone. So when I had a Galaxy Fold, which has a folding screen that's not very durable, that was my shower phone. What happened was in July, I took it into a pool, and it would have been fine, but I wasn't aware at the time that my SIM card tray had some, what do you call it? My SIM card tray literally had no gasket. Yeah, there was no gasket on my SIM card tray. That was what happened to me. So, bottom line, it takes water. It starts malfunctioning. I don't know why it's taking water, so I didn't do anything about it. Then later on, when I took it apart at my friend's house, I find out that it's because the SIM card tray was the place the water came in. If I knew that, I probably could have saved my Note 8 by flipping it over right away and removing the SIM card tray before it got catastrophic. I should have inspected the SIM card tray. I don't know how the gasket fell out. The gasket usually seems to be pretty good in there, but maybe through, you know, temperature changes, it comes out, it falls out. It's amazing that cheese can have such a high albedo and reflect that much light. It must be Velveeta. That would make sense if there was like maybe a surface coating of Velveeta. So, you know, like, I keep an open mind and I respect people's opinions and even ideas that I consider strongly disagreeable. But a coworker of mine, you know, is so, like, not believing in the moon to be what it is at all. He thinks it's a machine that emits light. So his two points of argument, and he's not the only person to come up with this, but he seems to think somewhat strongly of it, is that when he lived in the state of Arizona, he had a garden, and he's doing some stuff with his garden, and he's standing in the moonlight, and it just felt strange. You know, the moonlight felt strange to him and made him feel kind of like some kind of way. And then he talked about cold light. So there's this thing that people say that the moonlight is cold. And if you put like a thermometer or measure the temperature of the ground in the shadow, it will be warmer than the area where the moonlight touches it. And I don't know how that proves that the moon is a machine, but okay, let's just say this is a thing. Fine. Generally, I looked into it. Usually when people are measuring light in the shadow, like say in an awning under the front door, they have one of those black rubber welcome mats in front of their house, right? So it's like, well, yeah, that thing is a rough black texture. You bet that thing is going to, you know, be warmer than the surrounding pavement or concrete, which is also white. Or they'll put a box on a table, and it's like the box will have a lid that's half covering it to create the shadow, but that essentially causes that box to retain a little bit of heat. So once again, it's like, well, you know, like you're kind of like throwing off the experiment. You're going to have to do something more positive. And I've had people argue like, so same coworker argued that like, that astronauts can't go into deep space not because of the radiation or cosmic rays, although that is a fact that he argues that the moon landing couldn't happen because of the Van Allen belts, but he calls it the Van Halen belts though. But anyway, yeah, Van Halen. I swear that's what it sounds like. I could be wrong, but I think he says Van Halen. Maybe he doesn't. It just sounds like Van Halen. But I always hear Van Halen belt when he says it. But like okay, you know, so he, you know, that's one angle, but his argument was that they can't go into deep space because gravity isn't what we think it is, or the Earth doesn't emit gravity. Wait, how does he phrase it? It's not the, okay, so you get like osteoporosis from lack of gravity. His argument is that the astronauts are still under the gravity of the Earth because when they're orbiting, it's free fall, and that's sort of true. I mean, that is true. The free fall is sort of, you're always falling over the horizon, so you're never actually hitting the ground, but just by virtue of falling constantly and overshooting the mark, that alone is enough to like, you know, like basically make you get the illusion of zero gravity. I mean, for all intents and purposes, or, you know, it's a difference without a meaningful distinction. Oh, hey, let me invite this helicopter pilot in for some coffee. Hey, you want some coffee? He just Morris coded. He said he didn't want any coffee. Okay, checking, you know. Model, citizen, zero discipline. My sidewalk, which I rent, so not really mine, is far from pristine, white, or gray. Model, citizen, zero discipline, music, music, music. Gravity is not real. The Earth just sucks really hard. I put my hand between my legs and ease the seat back. I'm certain that's gotta be a massive Kirby in there somewhere. Well, it depends. What did he eat? Right, is that how that works? I didn't really know what Kirby was about until I played Smash Brothers, and then I see that he had this feature where he could get like fat without getting fat. That was kind of interesting. All right, so I don't know if I should be doing this right now, but I'm gonna take a good look at this. Did my telescope just shake, or no, it's my desk? Okay. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm zoomed in right now because I'm trying to get the focus adjusted here. So what I usually do is I dial it in and dial it back. I'm certain that's true. It's got to be a massive Kirby in there somewhere. Oh, did I just read that twice? I did. Oh wow, that's clear. Did I just hit the mark? So, see these ripples? They can sometimes be evidence that we're out of focus, but these ripples can also be because of the clouds passing by, and they probably are because of the clouds, because, you know, water vapor will do that sort of thing. So if I get like, you know, I'm going to zoom in more than the camera can actually deliver just by using digital zoom, but essentially you can see like the edges are like rippling and deforming, and that's basically like water. It looks like heat waves, but it's basically the water passing by. So almost makes it not worth trying to image the moon right now, but that's the that's, you know, a decent gauge to get an idea. What I should really be doing is looking at the microphysics map to see like what the deal is there. So let's see here if I can get the microphysics map. Let's see, microphysics. Goes east. It's a geostationary. So this will give me an idea. So anyway, let's see what these instructions say. I should probably just watch the YouTube video. Scan out QR code or use the URL above. URL below. Okay, so we'll check out the installation. I think it lasted 2 days of training to do filter queen sales. Nice vacuums though. Huh. So you got through part of the training, but not the sales process. The sales, that can be grueling sometimes, right? Especially door to door. My coworker is complaining about door to door salespeople. He wasn't complaining. He was complaining about the job that he had years ago, and it was like a soul draining job basically to him, right? And I think he gave examples like, you know, like just a part of it was also the company was one of those companies where like they're not making money off of the actual product. They're making money off of the selling the forms. You know, and damn it, I can never find the weather map I want. I freaking hate that. Like they changed the URL recently, and now I have to find the new map. And that's supremely annoying because the old URL used to work. It was a good URL. It gave me a good map. And I can never find the shit I'm looking for. Like, it's kind of like, see, like, if you're an airplane pilot, it's great. But I'm not a pilot, so I almost think there's just a glitch they gotta fix because it currently says it's blocked, and it's been saying that for a few days now. Maybe if I open up a new browser tab, it'll magically work. Okay, good. At least it didn't work there. I'd be pissed off if I had it issued to troubleshoot. But maybe it's just down right now. But like, I don't want to just use this. This kind of gives me an idea, but it's not what I'm expecting. Whoops. Okay, so I have to play around with this. We got dust, so we can see how climate change is affecting the world. You know, because everything's due to climate change, right? Even if it's not, we'll just say it's due to climate change because nobody's going to stop me. If I'm in favor of the narrative, I'm pretty sure I can say, I was thinking about doing that, like trolling the mainstream climate change community by like going around and pretending to be like, you know, like, oh, this is because of climate change, seeing how much bullshit I can make up that isn't due to climate change, or that I don't know if it's due to climate change, but I'll just go around saying it anyway and see like if any of it gets corrected by anyone who actually is an authority, so to speak, right? Because we got to appeal to the authority, trust the science, as they say. That's a cool looking shit, but not useful for what I'm trying to do. But that's what I want to do, yeah. One of these days. That's my dream. I'd rather take a beat down than do sales work, especially door to door. Well, if you ever saw the Weird Al movie, man, that sales guy got beaten to an inch of his life. That scene was hilarious. That was the moment I realized the movie might have been making embellishments up. I still loved it, but that was like a great scene. That was the first scene I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe his dad didn't really lose a hand working in the factory. But yeah, I can't be certain if like the atmosphere is good enough to take pictures of crap right now because like I can't get my aviation weather center map. Like there was a very good one. Like it was a very, very good one. Like it worked. It was good. It was straightforward. I would just type it in and click on it like Albany region, which was just really meant New York State. It didn't really mean Albany, but that was like, I guess, where they centered the map on. And it gave me like all the relevant areas near Jersey and, you know, all that. Here we are. No, I think they're just having issues right now because I should really look for like an alternative website for the same thing. And Weather Underground has their own, which I love this Weather Underground. Their website, their name of their, shit is like the terrorist group from the friggin' 70s or whatever. I hope they're not a bunch of fucking commies. I don't really need an interactive map. I just need a good, like, visible satellite map. Oh, thank God it's cooling down outside, man. It was freaking humid out today. But yeah, so maybe I should just like roll with it. I'd rather go door to door as a Jehovah's Witness than try door to door sales again. Hell, at least people like treat you a little better because at least you're going around with a wholesome message like, oh, I'm here about God. Now, some people might not agree with everything about Jehovah's Witnesses and how they roll, but at least you can say that, okay, they're doing the Bible thing, you know? It's like virtuous. They're being virtuous. As opposed to, like, you know, sending a drag queen to your school, which wouldn't be so bad if they were cool. But then they're like, oh, let's read a book about sucking dick. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Don't do that. You're grooming my kids. And then everyone's like, oh, but you groom your kids when you do straight stuff. It's like, yeah, but that's actually different. Anyway, I'm not trying to open up that can of worms right now. I think tolerance should be taught and all of that. But I was watching this guy named James Lindsay, I think. And he has a channel called, why can't I remember James Lindsay? I can't remember the name of his channel at the moment. Something like New Discourses. And the video is titled the action is the reaction. So the idea is that they'll shove drag queen story hour down your throat, and first it'll be harmless, right? And that's cool, you know. And one angle, some people might not even react to it. They might be like, whatever, you want to dress like, you know, RuPaul or Whitney Houston and read storybooks to the kids. Some parents like, whatever, okay, it's a little weird, but I'll let it be. But then they start like really going over the top with, like, you know, the weird makeup or something, and then they start reading, like, you know, sexualized stuff to the kids. Then the parents react. And so the guy's claim was, Lindsay's claim, or Lindsay's, you know, who tries to provide evidence, I think, to back what he's talking about, is that the goal of the groups who are pushing this is to elicit a reaction from the parents. They want, like, sort of like when, not that the protests during the pandemic were to elicit a reaction, but remember when there were, like, people protesting against the lockdowns, and then you had these fucking annoying nurses standing in the street, like, blocking cars and being all defiant. So they had these, like, cute little pictures of, like, nurses in their nurse scrubs, wearing masks, of course, because they're, you know, good people, standing in front of these cars. And they had that one picture where you had some old lady, like, holding a sign, and, like, she was clearly a MAGA type, and she was like supposed to exemplify, like, the worst in the MAGA types, I guess. And it's like, it was just like they were painting this picture, you know. And in a way, I'd say, like, the lockdown, and the way these nurses were, like, counter protesting the lockdown protesters, the anti-lockdown protesters, served the media's agenda, because now the media was able to capture a video of somebody reacting negatively, and they were able to, like, you know, amplify that by going, oh, look, there's some white person, and there's a poor Hispanic nurse there, look at that poor Hispanic male nurse there, and he's trying to save lives, and this person is being selfish or something like that. But it's like, well, no, this asshole is blocking my car, being all defiant. Well, I'm just saying that, yeah, my liberty is actually more important than your health. I mean, it's not that it's more important than your health, but the idea of, like, you know, like when people say, like, counter, I would hear a guy on the phone at work bitching, like, about anti-masking. He'd be like, oh yeah, those people say, what about their liberty? Well, what about my liberty to not get sick? I was like, well, you have a liberty to not get sick. It's called wear something to protect yourself. That's your responsibility. I mean, sure, yeah, we have some shared responsibility in this society, but this was just, like, at the time, that was just a bit over the top, you know? Now, Japan is weird because they don't mandate the masks, but you will get shamed if you don't wear a mask. You know, people sometimes shoot you dirty looks, so I have a mixed attitude about that way of living. But they're also in a crowded place. They're also next to China, so I can kind of, like, I don't blame them for being more hypochondriac-like, because, I mean, they're next to China. Need I say more? So anyway, I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole. That sucker is 3 inches thick, doubles as a paper brick doorstop. Oh, Jillem, I've been in a chat with you before. I remember you mentioning your marine manual. Oh, that's what's 3 inches thick. All right, so whitestone.com/support. Should we take a picture of the moon like this? Might be starting dinner soon. I don't think I'm going to start this screen protector right now, and I don't think we'll have time for pod racing right now. I'm sorry. Sorry that we did astronomy instead of pod racing, I mean. I enjoyed wearing a mask, David says. It made me feel like a bank robber. I think some people enjoyed reveling in the adventure, you know? Like, it was like, oh, this is some scary stuff, and we're fighting the good fight or something. And the only good fight that is cooler than fighting a good fight, aside from being Legendary Tron, who's a cool dude who legitimately fights the good fight, it is being cool, like Gray. What's up, Gray? It's good to see you, man. We got Gray of Wakazashi's Tea House. He had a pretty cool stream the other day. I enjoyed the part of it that I did watch so far. And it's very weird how the moon suddenly got way brighter and I'm using the same gain settings. At least it's being honest. I think we're going to pick a star cluster if the weather permits, and then I'm going to go eat dinner in 2 seconds. But what we have here is an overexposed moon. So in most likelihood, there are no major clouds at the moment. And so what I mean by star clusters, it's like almost looks like a pom-pom. I think yesterday the star cluster I was working on, I can't see it because my computer rebooted yesterday. It rebooted probably because of an animal or because of the Windows updates. I honestly don't know which. Do you need me to get the door? But yeah, what do you call it? Let's see here. See it. Star clusters. They look like a clumping of stars, and I was taking a picture of. The name is not saved here right now. I don't remember what star cluster I was taking a picture of yesterday. I'll have to look it up later. But let's see if we can find another star cluster. So here we got the bulk of the Milky Way galaxy right here. The longer it went, the more absurd it became. Yeah, you know, and look, I mean, like, I try to empathize and stuff, but like, you know, you're telling me to go to work, wear a mask for 12 hours when I'm sitting alone on a Sunday at a cubicle. And so I usually like would flout that or skirt it or, you know, like try to avoid that. But wow, this is a very laggy connection to the software. I'm going to try reconnecting. So I bought a fake mask. It was like a mesh net. It looked like I was wearing pantyhose on my face, kind of, except that I had different versions of the masks, and some were thicker than others. Okay, that's much better. The quality gets shitty when I move it around, but I don't care as long as it works. So we could get a target before the meridian or after the meridian. The moon is on this side of the sky, so I'd say getting a target after the meridian would probably be the way to go. Hey, what's up, Lady Mist? See, I'm gonna eat dinner any second now, but before I do, I want to try to queue up a target, just like queuing up a playlist in Winamp. You know, for people who remember using Winamp back in the 90s, or late 90s, early 2000s. So yeah, this was actually a target I was working on yesterday, and actually I caught it in, I caught a lot of data in like, so look, you got blue and red and a little yellow. I caught the yellow and blue data yesterday. So right now we are actually going to intentionally focus on the red, which is hydrogen alpha, because I'm an alpha. No, I'm kidding. But that's funny. So Floral from Under a Rock suggested I build a robot and we name it something like PDP 380 Beta. And I guess Beta just sounds like a cool robot name. But what I want to do is like show up as that, and then at some point do a skit where I give the robot a beard and like that yellow beard and a blonde beard, and rename the robot PDP 380 Alpha, and I say I'm an alpha, I'm a Chad bot, or some stupid shit like that. I don't know, I'll figure it out when the time comes. But there's a scene on Star Trek The Next Generation when Data gets a beard and Counselor Troy is like, what is this? And he's like, oh, I decided to get a beard. Does it not make me look more distinguished, more trustworthy? And he's like standing there like saying this whole thing about being, you know, more distinguished. And Counselor Troy is supposed to be like this supportive person, but she's sitting there just like, she has to like leave the room so she could bust out laughing because she does not want to have to explain, you know, why she finds this so amusing to the robot, you know? So that was a funny part in Star Trek, in my opinion. Okay, so we got to crank up the exposure time a lot. Thank you, Wakazashi's Tea House. You have a good weekend too, man. And, you know, keep up the good work. That was a cool video he did. I had a cool little intro from a movie I never saw. Can't remember right now, but I'm going to revisit it because I was watching it at 3 a.m. while riding my bike. Or I think it was 2 a.m. Something like that. It was really late when I was riding my bike last night. And, you know, it reeled me into the stream. You know, it's like video of guy from an old movie talking. Then you get his usual intro. Dong, dong, you know, the Wakazashi theme or whatever. Okay, so focus. I gotta focus. We're not doing a screen protector right now. But damn, this is a weird screen protector. I mean, it comes with all this shit here. You got like, it looks like, is that a screw? Oh, this is the liquid gel. This is the frame. This is like, what you do is you put the screen, you put this in like this. It's like almost like a mouse trap. So you actually have to put this piece in. Like, there's a trick to this. There is a trick to this, but it's like you have this thing in the way and you slide it out of the way and then the screen protector falls into place. So this thing here is supposed to like prevent the screen protector from falling on top of the phone prematurely. And I'm probably doing it wrong, but you get the idea. We'll worry about that later. But she was pretty, so, well, I will forget. Okay, but Data didn't have emotions, so Troy couldn't sense that. Nothing there to hurt. But she was pretty, so men will forgive any scene she's in. Yeah, I mean, she was much more forgivable before she got, see, we go back to that stupid pandemic again. Like, Counselor Troy was, like, mean to people about, like, you know, her attitude towards people who chose not to do a certain thing. It's like, you shouldn't be peer pressuring your fans. You shouldn't be treating your fans like shit, you know? Now we don't, some of us don't like you like we used to like you, you know? It's like, we respected the way you acted and, you know, we had fun watching your performance and all of that. Oh, that's weird. My Pegasus power box isn't connecting. I gotta reconnect the USB cable for that thing. That sucks. Okay, I'll do it later. So anyway, okay, focus. Just like the camera, I gotta focus. Then I can get up and go. So anyway, we were trying to get a star cluster. We need to get a longer exposure going. Start with a 4-second exposure. We'll open up the plate solving utility to get the target lock. So we're not doing a star cluster. We're doing the Eastern Veil Nebula. And we're going to do it in hydrogen. So first things first, we want to get a picture in regular light, so to speak. We're already in focus last I checked, so I don't think I have to do anything special there. So we're just going to tell the software, scan this image. And there we go. That's got the corresponding time and date. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. Okay. Solve the plate targeting. There we go. Then we got to go back into, wait for that. This thing's going to move a little bit, presumably, right? But in the meantime, we could already begin verifying that we're in focus. So to do that, we'll start with a 1-second exposure and we'll brighten everything up like that. And luckily this is a region of sky where like the stars are pretty bright, so I can lower the exposure time and that'll make my life a little bit easier because now I can adjust the focus at a faster rate. So what I like to do is I like to purposely put it out of focus, then dial it back in, since I don't really have a proper backlash compensation for the gears and I don't have time to like mess with autofocus yet. Then we bring it back into focus incrementally like we're doing right now. You can see how the stars get smaller as I bring it more into focus. And you get to a point where you start dialing it in more tightly like we're doing now. And at this point, it's probably already in focus, but we're going to do one more step, 15. And at this point, I think it's basically in focus, but we'll go 5 steps in. Zoom back out. We got our stars. Now we're ready for the 300-second run. Oh, wait, but there's more. I forgot something, dang it. I want to do a hydrogen picture. So we're going to do hydrogen alpha right now before I go because I have to do that. Okay, so the thing's going to give me the little spinner while I wait for that. That's okay. Plate solving is done at least. So we're going to hit yes and then going to see if the crosshair moves. The crosshair did move. Great. So we didn't waste time. We can use that time to recenter the target. Target is now recentered. Now we can rename it as soon as this program comes back to life. As soon as this program comes back to life. Wait. All right. Come on, computer. I need you to catch up so I can go, you know, eat. Might even just do this on my phone. Come on. You can do it. I believe in you, computer. You're a halfway decent computer. I was gonna say you're a good computer. Nah, it's a halfway decent computer. That's a pretty decent computer, actually. It really is. So, you know, and I'll be back probably not tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. Oh, and I gotta still hot glue my turtle's Halloween costume, and I hopefully might take her out of the tank after dark just to dress her up. But in any case, whether or not I do that, I do have to still at least put a costume. I took some measurements. I literally measured my turtle for the costume like a tailor would do. Okay, so red, as it gets colder out, the red filter starts to become more in focus with the hydrogen filter, but I still purposely readjusted it because I don't want to take any chances. Okay, so we should probably be about right. If we overshoot the marks just a little bit, it'll probably not be the end of the world because the telescope will cool down. The cooling unit is at -15. I'm gonna have no choice but to turn off the cooling unit, let it shed off some heat, and turn it back on. So luckily, when the thing takes pictures, it keeps a log of the temperature in the file with the pictures, so I can verify the temperature was consistent before using it in image processing. Okay, we got the 5-minute exposure set. Capture image. Oh, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong camera. I'm so sorry about that. I forgot to switch the screen. Okay, so anyway, we're almost done here. No, basically done. It's not much. Oh, I got to do one more step. We got to engage the auto guide, the auto guiding camera, which basically keeps us on target automatically. And it's a log. It's a big, heavy. It's a log. It's big. It's heavy. It's wood. Musical tune. Okay, we connect. Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, I kind of remember them. That was before I had cable. I got cable late. Back then, the cable company was a local cable company. It was cool. And then they became less cool when they got bought out by Time Warner Cable. I miss the old days when everyone had like a regional, local, very local cable station. It was just better. It was not better in some ways, but it was basically better. We're on target now. We got the target lock. We got the exposure running. The only thing I got to do is log into this from the dinner table and play with the temperature. But right now, I'm purposely letting it shut off some excess heat. Oh, okay, well, you must have good antenna service if you got cable in 2010. I know when everything switched to digital, that's when a lot of people who didn't want cable jumped to cable. Like, it was just too atrocious, and it was like some people just didn't want to fight with antennas. And man, that's a whole other topic I want to talk about, but I can't talk about it now because if I do, I'll, never eat dinner. Haven't actually watched it in, so I got like a dedicated TV tune on my home network that lets me watch TV from like of the devices in the house, and I could DVR record stuff. I set one up for my dad, except that he watches Fox News more than a lot of networks, and so Fox News is like the only channel that is encrypted in such a way that I can't just conveniently bounce it across the home network, which is super duper annoying. And it's like, oh, they're all about freedom and all of that shit, but then like they don't want you to have the freedom over your copy protection. So I say fuck them. And I also like I don't ever watch CNN, but it's like God, I could watch, record, and restream CNN like no problem, but like can't do that with like Fox. And I mean I don't watch Fox personally anyway. I don't need like one bias in exchange for another. I could got other resources, so to speak. But yeah, it's exactly, it's some draconian, you know, DRM protection, and it's on like Fox, some of the Disney stuff, some of the FXX, and I think like some of the, you know, like the pay-per-views and stuff, which pay-per-view kind of makes sense, still draconian, but it makes sense. I wouldn't even mind 720p as long as it's 720p. I hate when it's 1080i. I'd rather just have like a full progressive scan. I would rather go 720p than 1080i. But that's interesting. I didn't know they only broadcast that way. But, you know, see, and it's easier for me to store. I can warehouse 720p footage all day, every day, you know? 4K, I don't want to touch it. I mean, there's some 4K content I want to deal with, but for the most part, I don't want to have a media library full of like uncompressed 4K. Yeah, so Antenna Man, there's the one that had a name for similar to Slim Nim, but his name wasn't Slim Nim. It was, you know, Slim Nim is our friend. And I mentioned the word high def antenna in a video where he says there's no such thing as a high def antenna, and he's right. Because a regular antenna could be hooked up and adjusted for use with high def. So there is no such thing as an actual high def antenna. But for all intents and purposes, if you're buying a product that is adjusted for high definition or intended for use, and they guarantee it works for that purpose, I would say, yeah, that's a high def antenna. I get that technically there's no such thing. Like if you go and you take a regular rooftop antenna, you could adjust the spokes. So instead of them being straight out like that, you make them to a triangle. So it's like, you know how those TV antennas have like little spokes that are like this? So all you do is you take all the spokes and you do this with them, and they basically catch the wavelength a bit better. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for tuning in. For anybody watching on the replay, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. And for now, we shall end.